Hello out there, all my wonderful friends. My name is Phoenix, and welcome to a brand new series here on the channel. So, Satisfactory is now out of early access. We now have Satisfactory 1.0, the official release. This means not only will there be lots of new players to this wonderful, fascinating open-world construction game, but there are lots of new changes and additions. So my last How to Satisfactory series got tons of love from not only just new players, but experienced ones as well. I got all kinds of comments telling me that they preferred my guide over others out there and how they learned new things they never knew before. Some didn't like how detailed I was, but for the most part, this series was a hit. Now, with Satisfactory 1.0, it's time to start a brand new guide through the game, taking into account mistakes I made in the previous series, tricks and tips I've learned since the original started like more than 2 years ago, not to mention all the changes that have happened in the various updates since the very first episode of the How to Satisfactory. With this new playthrough though, I'm going to go into as much detail as I can to guide you through from landing on your designated planet, getting started, and building a beautiful factory from the ground up. Hopefully, this series will help you figure out how the game works. You can take the things you learn, put them into good use through your own playthroughs. Because there is no one single way to play this game. You can play it however you want. So, fellow Fix-It employees, are you ready to get started and head out in your journey to an alien world so we can save our universe? So obviously the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be clicking New Game, which we will then be given a few different options here on where we want to start. So you have the grassy fields, which is ideal for first-time pioneers. We've got the rocky desert, also good for first-time pioneers. The rocky desert's actually pretty good. There's the northern forest, which is better for more experienced players. There's lots of great resources here. However, you gotta know kind of what you're doing, and there's not a lot of room to work with. And then there's the dune desert, which is recommended for more advanced players. Now, this one has tons of room to build, lots of open space, but there's not a whole lot of biomass, foliage, things like that to actually work with in the beginning, as well as water for the late game. For How to Satisfactory 1.0, I actually considered using the rocky desert for this playthrough, but I took a poll on my channel and everybody more or less chose the grassy fields again. So that's the location we're going to do. So I'm going to choose that. Then we're going to give our game a session name. All right, so session name is essentially what you're going to call your game, but it also has another use. So if you have more than one session or one playthrough, then when you save the game, it's going to be put in, let's think of it as a folder. And when you go to load that game and you have multiple playthroughs, you're going to see all these different like menus for the different save games and stuff. And that's what this is. So for me, I'm just going to call this How to 1.0. Our next option down here is Skip Intro. Now, this skips the onboarding process and it takes you straight to Tier 1. So you're going to miss out on a lot of the tutorials if you do this. You're going to miss out on some of the story and kind of learning how to build. So if you're brand new to the game, I don't recommend doing this. So go ahead and leave this non-check marked. Now down here you also have advanced game settings and multiplayer settings. Let's go ahead and take a look at multiplayer settings real quick. So this gives you different options here. So first of all, it's automatically chosen single player. This is playing just by yourself. You don't want anybody else to join the game. You also have IP, an advanced method of hosting a multiplayer game. Does not require login to any service, but it might require setting up port forwarding. So this is a little more advanced, but it does allow you to pretty much set up your own personal server. Then there's Epic. Other Epic game players will be able to join your session by invite or via their friend list, depending on session visibility. So I myself am playing this game via Epic Games. If you're on Steam, this also might say Steam right here instead of Epic. Since I don't have the Steam version, I'm not seeing that, but I imagine that's the way it would be. Last but not least, there is crossplay. So players from other PC platforms will be able to join your multiplayer game. So for example, I'm on Epic, but if my friend has it on Steam, then if I choose crossplay, then we'll be able to play with each other that way. Now, considering this is going to be a how-to series and a guide, I'm just going to go ahead and choose single player. You would then apply that, confirm, and it takes you back to our main menu here. Now, next down here, we have advanced game settings. I personally wouldn't touch these if you are a brand new player. Right now, the game is set up as its default mode. So if we go into this, it automatically is going to give you a warning here that by doing this, you'll be changing a lot of stuff. You'll not be able to get any achievements in the game. If you're playing multiplayer, all the players in the session will have access to these settings once you activate it. So if you enable advanced game settings, this is a one-way action as it says here. You will not be able to switch back to the default version of the game unless you reload a save that was created before switching over. So since this is brand new, you don't want to do that. I would just go ahead and leave this be. At some point in the future, I will try to come back and do another video here on all the advanced game settings just to give you guys an idea of what is actually in there and how it works. So once you have your starting area chosen and your session name in there and you've clicked all the settings that you want to change, the next thing to do is we're going to go ahead and click Start Game, of course. And now something new that seems to be a nice quality of life change, which I've never noticed till now, so it must be added in 1.0, is the fact that we get a confirmation screen before we actually start the game with everything that you've chosen. So our starting area is grassy fields. We're going to not skip the onboarding part. We have no advanced game settings enabled. Session type is single player, and that's all good. So let's confirm that. All right, so the first thing that's going to happen in the game is Planetfall. This is where you are taking your drop pod down to your fix-it designated planet. I always enjoy watching this little intro sequence, and there's been some changes to this opening as well now that we have an actual story in the game. Speaking of which, I am going to try to keep this series spoiler-free as much as I can, so you can all enjoy that for yourself. But for now, we're going to go ahead and skip ahead through this to once we are actually on the planet. So once you've landed somewhat safely down onto the planet, you're going to start getting the objectives from Ada, the Artificial Directory Assistant for Fixit Corporation. Now, Ada does do a pretty decent job of telling you what to do in the very, very beginning of the game, but she doesn't tell you everything that you need to know in the game, which is why I'm making this series. One thing to note is that every single time you start a new game, and even if you choose the exact same starting area, such as grassy fields, your landing area is going to be in a different location. Sometimes I've landed way over there. Sometimes I've landed kind of over this direction. This is the first time I've ever landed over here on this side, so that's new. But yeah, your drop pod is almost always in a different location with every new game you start. Alright, so let's begin going through the different onboarding objectives here that Ada is going to give us. The first one is to equip the Xeno Zapper. Now, the Xeno Zapper is essentially a taser that is good for dealing with the wildlife here at the beginning of the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Tab on your keyboard. That's going to bring up your inventory screen. Now, the inventory screen here, as you can see, this side is your different things in your inventory. This side is your Pioneer and the different slots for it. So there are different items that go in different slots, such as the head slot here, body, back, hands, legs. Things you're going to carry, obviously, are going to be going in your hand. You can get other stuff later on in the game, which we'll go over a little later on, that will fit in these different slots here. But for now, we need to equip the Xeno Zapper, so we can just take and drag that over to the hand slot, like so. Another way to do it is you can hold down either Control or Shift and then click on the item, and it will throw it right over into the hand slot automatically there. If you have an item that you need to get out of your inventory for any reason and destroy it, you can always take that item, drag it down here over top of the little trash can symbol right here. And we have the sort button over here as well. So sometimes you will end up with a lot of random stuff that's in your inventory, sometimes even in different stacks. You may have 2 or 3 different stacks of the same thing. Hitting sort will sort all of that inventory into proper stacks and put it in alphabetical order in your inventory. I'll try to remember to come back and talk about this just a little bit more once we actually get more stuff here in our inventory. But let's move on. So as I was saying, the Xeno Zapper is a taser that you can use to defend yourself here in the game. Now, let's go ahead and try it out here on this poor little defenseless alien bird here. If you'll stay in still, come here, buddy. So just 2 hits on him will take him out, and he doesn't drop anything at all. Other creatures in the game will actually drop stuff though, and they usually will take a lot more hits to kill them than what that little parrot thing did there. A good rule of thumb is to always have the Xeno Zapper handy when you're out and about in the game and not really near your base, because you never know what you're going to run into. Alright, the next objective is to dismantle the drop pod. For that, we're going to hit F, and that's going to bring up the handy dandy fix-it tool. The handy dandy fix-it tool is good for a lot of stuff, such as building, and in this case, dismantling. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hold down the left mouse button, and boom, that's going to dismantle that. Fixer Corporation hates wasting resources. So by dismantling the drop pod, we ended up getting the first piece in order to build our hub. But the hub is going to come in just a minute. Right now, our objective 3 is to gather some iron ore. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down V on your keyboard. Now, this is the scanner. So normally, later in the game, you're going to have lots of different kinds of resources you can scan for. Right now, we only have one available, which is iron ore. So once we release V, we're going to do a quick scan of the area, and then if whatever iron is closest to us is going to pop up, and it's going to tell us the direction. It's also going to tell us how far away it is. So the closest is going to be somewhere around 260, 270 meters that way, but that's not where we're going to go. So the way that I'm going to start our game here is I'm going to look for the arches. So like I said, you start the game in a random spot. You could be anywhere here in the grasslands, but always look for this giant arch right here, which looks like the legs of what used to be a giant statue or something. It's just a big rock arch. But anyway, look for that because that's the direction we are going to want to go. Kind of a southwest. As you're traveling, you're going to want to collect some leaves and wood and other stuff along the ground here. So we can do that just by simply walking up to it. You can see it highlights. We hit E and we pick that up. Now, if we hold down E while we pick it up, then holding it down and walking, whenever we come across them, we'll automatically pick that up. It's a little tricky to get used to at first, but I'm sure you guys will get the hang of it. Alright, so now we've come across one of the first hostile aliens here on the planet. This is one of the hogs, or as I like to refer to him, as a charger. Now, this guy's going to take at least 4 hits with the Xeno Zapper. What I like to do is just kind of wait till he's charging at me, move to the side, hit him twice, and then wait for him to charge at me again. Now, once he's dead, we are going to be able to pick up the hog remains, so let's go ahead and do that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to hold on to those remains for a little bit later on because we can use those for some research. Here we have another alien life form on the planet. I like to call these space giraffes or Jeffrey. I call them Jeffrey because of, if you guys remember the old Toys R Us stores, Jeffrey the giraffe, well, that's Jeffrey. So as I was saying earlier, you are going to be put down someplace very random whenever you start the game. But here in the grasslands, you can always get your bearings by looking for the giant rock arch right there. Now, potentially, anywhere right in this area is going to be a good place to kind of build your first starting area, as long as you've got the resources you need. Iron, copper, etc., etc. That's the main things you kind of need to begin with. You just need the right starting resources and a good flat area to build upon. The first How to Satisfactory game, I built the factory right here. However, we ran into a huge blockade with all of the kind of rocks here that are in this area. When I started, I didn't build high enough. I didn't take into account that I would need more space. We've got these gas rocks right here. You need to be aware of those. Don't go into that. That can kill you pretty quickly. There is a way to get rid of those later on, but just starting the game, you don't have that option yet. For this playthrough, I've got a pretty good idea of how I want it to go and a great starting area that I'm going to show you how to get to. Now, what you want to do is once you locate this big central area right here, it's kind of flat, kind of a valley. You've got the gas rocks right there in the middle, and you want to keep the arch to your left at all times. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to head straight south from the gas rocks, kind of right down through this way. Not really straight south, but kind of southeast. Yeah, kind of. You want to head down that way. So like I said, there's the arch. You want to head right down through here. You're just going to kind of keep heading south. You're going to go past right there, past the arch. Always keep that to your left or kind of behind you. So just keep heading south until you get to right here. This is the end of the map. These cliffs right here, you can't go any further than that. You also don't want to fall off on these because, well, you will die, and that's a bad thing. So don't do that. Now, this is going to be a great place because we have a ton of resources right here that we need to kind of start the game with. We've got our iron right here in front of us, over here, kind of to the west right there, as you can see. We've got limestone over that way. We've got copper right here. There's even like coal and a caterium node down this way as well. All right, so here's our resource node right here. This is one of the iron ore nodes. As you can see, it's kind of a brownish and stone looking color right here with kind of a chrome looking in the middle. That's our iron. So these resource nodes will come in three different variations. You have this one here. By looking at it, you can see this is a normal node. Normal is your basic node that you will mostly find. There's also two other types. There is the impure node, which is not as good as the normal node. That basically means with it being impure, you're not going to get as many resources out of it as you would a normal. And by that, I don't mean you will run out, because these resources are infinite. So you don't have to mine this one until it's done and then go find another one. You'll be able to get infinite amounts out of this. But it will have to do with the speed that you're getting it out. So you'll be able to get more out of a normal node per minute than you would, say, an impure node. So the other type is the pure node. That is actually the best quality node that you can get. You will be able to get a lot more per minute out of that one than you would a normal node. So pure nodes, obviously, are the ones you really want to search for. Starting the game, though, these two normal nodes, this one and there's another one right over here on the edge, are going to be perfect for what we want to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to walk over to either one of these nodes here. We're going to hold E to start mining the ore. So as you can see there, we start chipping away at this little node here. And on the left-hand side, you can see how much ore you have right now. And you can see it's actually getting it. I'm going to hand mine about 50 iron ore out of this one here. So now we're going to move on to objective 4, which is building the hub. As you can see, though, it's starting to get a little dark out here. So if we hit B, we'll bring up a flashlight. It's not the best flashlight in the world, but it is a flashlight nonetheless, which is going to help us see. So to build the hub, what we want to do is try to find a nice flat area somewhere near some resources that we're going to be mining. Now, so far, Ada's only told us about iron ore, which we've came over here and found. But as you noticed, I also had the limestone over there. There's also copper, quartz, caterium. There's all kinds of different resources. I would show you guys on the map where we are, but we don't have access to a map just yet. All right, so this looks like a fine flat place right here where we can build. So let's go ahead. We're going to hit Q, and this is going to bring up our build menu. Now you can say we have a couple of things we can build so far. As we move up and progress in the game, we're going to get a lot more stuff we can build. But right now we only have options for the crafting bench and the hub. The hub is a special building. You can only have one of these at one time. So let's go ahead and select that, and then we're going to place it down. Now you can rotate this using the mouse wheel on your mouse. Let's see if we can find a nice flat little area here that will be good for this. That looks pretty good right there. I'm just going to plop that down right there. Now if you accidentally have placed down the hub somewhere and you're not happy with where it's at, no worries. You can always remove it, and then you can replace it down once again. But again, like I said, you can only have one hub. So right off the bat, you're going to notice a couple of exclamation points on this. So let's go take a look at our two that we have. This is the hub terminal. This is going to be where we mostly interact with the hub and things at here. So we hit that, and you'll notice that we have different milestones and tiers and phases and stuff. Right now we have tier 0, and we have hub upgrade 1. Now under hub upgrade 1, you can see here we have the rewards we get. So we're going to get the equipment workshop, a portable miner, and we're going to get one extra hand equipment slot, which this has been moved because I don't think we actually got this early in the game before. So that's nice to have this and like right off the first bat. Underneath that, you're going to see the cost of upgrading this. So we're going to need 10 iron rods. So how do we get those iron rods? Well, we'll get into that in a minute. Right now, let's go ahead and select milestone. And now we can see here up at the top right corner, you can see your milestone, hub upgrade 1. You can see right there we need 10 iron rods. And then right here, you can see it's waiting for resources. So we need to make the 10 iron rods, and then we need to move those over into our hub terminal. And then we hit a button right here to upgrade it, but we'll come back to that. Let's turn around here. Let's look at the other exclamation point. This is a crafting bench. The crafting bench allows us to actually start creating things by hand. This early in the game, you don't have access to any of the construction machines or anything like that. So you're going to have to do everything by hand. Now we need iron ingots first of all in order to make the iron rods. So that's basically in order to make iron ingots, we need iron ore. We take that iron ore, we hammer it down into the ingots, And then we take those ingots and we can produce things like iron plates and iron rods right now. So let's go ahead and we're going to click on iron ingots, and then we need to craft that. So you can hold down your mouse button like so, right? And that's one way of doing it. But if you just tap your spacebar, just tap it real quick, you can see that it starts auto crafting right there. Now, in the early days of Satisfactory, there was no auto, like hitting space to auto craft. Nope. We had to take things like a really heavy object and put it on the spacebar to keep it crafting. It was kind of a pain, but yeah, it's what we had to do. All right, so now we've finished crafting all of those iron ingots that we could. And now you can see here, it's giving us different parts down here. We can make iron plates or iron rods. You can see they're lit up now. And we can make 20 iron plates, or we can make 30 iron rods. Well, we need 10 iron rods. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make 10 of those. I wouldn't make any more or any less than just the 10 right now. So we're going to start crafting those. All right, and then once we have our 10 iron rods, we will take those, we'll turn around, and we'll take those iron rods. And again, we can either like just select it and drag it over to the slot, or you can hit Shift to put those right in there like that. And then we're going to hit this button right here that says Upgrade Hub. By upgrading the hub, you can see here that the hub has actually started to change a little bit. We can see a more of a frame starting to form. We've also got a little something extra right here. This is your personal storage box. Later on in the game, you can make more of these, but this is one to start off with. So with this, you can put off different things in here. So I'll go ahead and take these hog remains that we got earlier. We'll put those in there. Everything else I'm going to hold on to. Also, after upgrading, if we go into our build menu, again, that's by hitting Q, you can see we have a new building that we can actually make here, the equipment workshop. We'll come back to this in just a second, but our next objective is going to be the upgrade 2 of the hub. So let's go back to the hub terminal again, and let's choose hub upgrade 2. And then here you can see our rewards here. We get a smelter, we get power lines, we can do copper ingots, wire, cable, and we can now scan for copper ore once we finish this. For this one, the cost is going to be 20 iron rods and 10 iron plates. So we're going to select that as our milestone. And again, you can see it's going to put that right up on the top right corner there so we can see what we're doing. And now we need to make the 20 iron rods and the 10 iron plates. But we're going to need more iron in order to do that. So we could go back and we could start hand mining the ore over there. Or what we could do is we could make a portable miner now. So to do that, we're going to make a workshop. So in order to do that, we're going to need, looks like 4 iron rods and 6 iron plates. So we have a little bit of iron ingots left over. Let's go over here. Let's make a few iron plates and a few iron rods. And then we're going to go into the build menu. We're going to pick the equipment workshop, and then we're going to find a nice place to put this guy here. I'm going to kind of throw it off over here to the side, just as a temporary spot for the time being. We're going to go in here, and then I'm going to hit E to interact with the equipment workshop, same as the crafting bench. And now you can see we can make a portable miner. So let's go ahead and craft ourselves one of these guys here. And now that we have the portable miner, we can hit Tab to go back into our inventory. We can take that portable miner and we can put it into our new hand slot that we have right here. There we go. Now we have in our hands, we have a Xeno Zapper and the portable miner. Now, as you can see here, currently we are holding the Xeno Zapper. If you use your mouse wheel, you can scroll back and forth between the portable miner and the Xeno Zapper, like so. Another thing of note is if you hit H, you can actually put whatever you're holding away so that now you can have good visibility, and then just hit H again to bring it back out. All right, so now let's head over here to one of our iron nodes right here. We're going to walk up to it right about the middle or somewhere. We're going to then select our portable miner, and we're going to place this little guy down here, and we're going to let him interact with the node here and do his thing. All right, so the portable miner is now going to just automatically start mining this node for us until it gets full. All right, so while he is mining, what we are going to do is we're going to walk around a little bit, and we are going to start grabbing as much of these leaves and wood and stuff as we can. After a few minutes, we'll come back over here to our portable miner. He's probably not all the way full yet. Oh, he's getting pretty close. He's got 79. We're going to hit this button here that says Grab All, and that's going to take the iron ore, going to put it into our inventory. And then let's head back over here to our hub and our crafting bench. And then we're going to turn all of that iron ore into ingots. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this auto craft real quick. Again, that's just by tapping your spacebar. So once we have our ingots, we need to make 20 iron rods and 10 iron plates. Then we take those, turn around, and then we're going to then go into the hub terminal once again. We're going to hold down control, click each of these, put them in there, and then upgrade hub. With hub upgrade 2, we get the smelter, which is a new machine that will take our ore and then produce the ingots automatically in there. We get power lines because any of the machines are going to need power in order to work. We can also now make new things. We can make copper ingots instead of just iron. We can make wire and cable out of those copper ingots. We're now also able to scan for copper ore instead of just the iron. Now, as I was saying, our machines that we build need power in order to work. So where do we get that power from? Well, our first source is going to be right here, now attached to the hub. So as you can see, upgrading the hub, we now have more than just a frame. We now have the little building in here. We've also got this biomass burner that's attached back here. And the biomass burner is a power source. So if we E to configure that, we can see we can throw fuel in here, such as all those leaves we've been collecting. And then once we attach something to this, such as a smelter, then it's going to start burning these leaves and producing the power needed. Now, this biomass burner isn't as big as the ones we're going to get later on that we can place down elsewhere. These attached to the hub produce only 20 megawatts instead of the 30 that the ones later on will produce. And honestly, I've never really even looked at it, but my understanding is that these actually burn a little slower than what the main biomass burners do. So we've got our leaves in here now. We just have to hook something up to it, which is going to be a smelter, so we can produce iron ingots automatically instead of having to come over here to the bench and make them. But let's head back over here to the hub terminal. Let's see what we got to do next. So hub upgrade 3. Hub upgrade 3 is going to get us yet another new machine, the constructor, which will take our ingots and then produce the objects that we need, such as plates, rods, wire, etc. And then we have power poles that we can use to connect two power lines. We have concrete that we'll be able to make, and limestone that we can scan to make said concrete. We have screws that we'll be able to do, and reinforced iron plates. In order to unlock Hub Upgrade 3, we need 20 iron plates, 20 iron rods, and 20 wire. So I'm going to go ahead and select that milestone. And as we can see, we got, again, all that we need is going to be up here listing, so we can easily see what we need. So now let's open up our build menu. And then if you go to production right here, you'll see our smelter is right there under production. So that's our new building that we can do. But we need 5 iron rods and 8 wire in order to make this. Now, in order to make wire, we are going to need copper. So where are we going to get copper from? Well, if we now hold down V once again, you can now see we have a new selectable source down here. We have copper ore that we can scan for. So go ahead and do that. And our first node pops up right here. It's only 80 some meters away right now at the moment. So we'll head over here. Right there it is. Now this one, instead of the other 2 iron nodes that we had earlier. Oh, we got a hog here. Got to take care of this. All right, so where was I? Oh, yes, this node right here with the copper. So this one's a little different than the 2 iron ones that we first found over there. You can see this one's got a bit of a rock on top of it. So what we got to do first is we got to chip away at this until it smashes away, leaving just the resource node itself. So at this point, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and make another portable miner. That way we can throw down on top of this node here. That way we have iron being mined and copper being mined. So we're going to need some rods and some plates in order to make a portable miner. So I'll just make a couple of these real quick. Head over here to our equipment workshop and we'll make ourselves 1 portable miner. Put that into our extra hand right there, and then head back over here to our copper ore. So then we'll plop down this little guy here on the copper ore node. He's going to get to work, and before we know it, we're going to have more miners here working than an apple factory in China. So let's go ahead and head back over here to the workbench, and then we're going to take all that copper ore, and we're going to go ahead and just make as many copper ingots as we can. And then we're going to take all of that copper ore, and we're going to make as much wire as we can. And then let's take a little bit of that wire and we'll make about 10 or so cables. I've actually went a little bit over, but that's fine. All right, so now let's go over here behind our hub, right here where our biomass burner is. Let's go into our build menu. Let's grab a smelter and we're going to plop this baby down this way. Now, you can see the smelter has an input and an output with the arrows. You can see the direction there. So arrows going in is input. Arrows coming out here on the front, that's our output. So let's go ahead and place one of these down right here. Now with that built, let's take a look at our UI on our screen real quick. And at the very bottom down there, you will see a quick swap bar right in the middle bottom of the screen. And you can see there's a little thing with a lightning bolt on it, and it says number 2. So if we hit 2 on our keypad, then we will bring up the power line. So let's go ahead and connect the power line from our smelter here straight into our biomass burner here on the hub, like so. There we go. So now we have power going into the smelter. Let's go ahead and configure our smelter to make iron ingots. Alright, so now all we need to do is we need to load this up with iron ore, and it will automatically start producing us some iron ingots. So over to our portable miner we go. We'll grab all the ore that we can here, go back over to our smelter, and then we'll take the ore and throw it into our smelter there. And as you can see, it starts production right now. And you can see it's using 4 megawatts every 2 seconds. And here in our output section, you can see we're already starting to get some iron ingots. Now, the machine itself will stop once this fills up because we have no way to output any of the iron ingots that we're making right now. We don't have conveyor belts yet, so everything we make is just going to be stuck in the machine until we pull it out. Now at this point, I would throw down another smelter. That way we could connect it and start making the copper ingots as well. But without the power poles, we can only connect one machine right now to the biomass burner. In order to get the power poles, we need to unlock Hub Upgrade 3. So we're going to need 20 wire, 20 iron rods, and 20 plates. Let's go ahead and grab all the ingots that we have currently out of there. And we're going to go over here. We're going to start making the pieces that we need. So once we have the 20 wire we need, the 20 plates, and the 20 iron rods, we'll go back over to the hub terminal once again. And we're going to finish off Hub Upgrade 3. With Hub Upgrade 3 complete, not only did we unlock a bunch of new stuff that we can do, but we now have the interior of the hub actually done, including something brand new to the game that we can now do, character customization. If you come in here and then over to our lockers, you can see we have different helmets we can choose. Including a giant one, which I didn't actually realize was in here. I didn't try this out before. But yeah, we can choose the different ones. I kind of like this one. It sort of looks like a welding mask. And we can also change our build gun as well, give it different kinds of skins. I'm going to go with a little camo one right here. And we can change our primary color, secondary color, and the color of our overalls. I'm going to go with black for my overalls. And then our primary color, I'm going to change that to like a grape. And my secondary color to, yeah, it's sort of an orange. And the last thing we have in here are these little trinkets that attach to the build gun. So I really like the coffee cup, but there is no coffee cup. So I'm just going to go with the little wrench. So if we step outside here and we bring up our build gun, you can see the little trinket that we chose is now attached to our build gun. Another new thing in the hub that's just been added is we can now flush the toilet. So if you've got something you want to get rid of, just put it in the toilet and flush. All right, so now I feel like I've gone through a lot of different stuff here just starting the game. And what I would love to do is to go through and the entire process of completing all of the hub upgrades. However, I do want to try to keep these videos a little short, so I'm going to split this up into 2 different parts. That means at this point, I am going to go ahead and end the video. But I do want to say thank you guys for watching our brand new series here, How to Satisfactory 1.0. And I hope that you guys will stay tuned for even more videos. I'm going to try to get these out as often as I possibly can and try to get back to a decent posting schedule here on the channel. If you're new to the game and you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below and give it a like. Very much would appreciate that. Plus, it helps the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to even more new and experienced Satisfactory players. And do remember, we are just now starting out this entire new series here. So we're just getting started, and I've got tons of things coming up. I've got a great idea for this brand new factory that we're going to build here. So stay tuned and just keep an eye out for the next episode. It will be very, very soon. So that's it from here on our Fix It designated planet. Wherever you guys are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I will see you very, very soon in the next episode. Thanks for watching.